There we are, that didn't take long. About 35 minutes to cut all of those. The technique of using 3 layers of card to give some depth to the windows is really, really good. Each window is cut ever so slightly different shape and size to the one below it, which enables me to get that beautiful beveled inwards kind of look. Even just looking at it like this, with it just raw card, you can really see the 3D nature of those window apertures. Once that's wrapped with texture, it'll look really good. So we've got the crenelations all done. What I need to do now is glue these 3 together. Then we'll see it slotted into place. It does fit. It fits nicely. Look at that. Really starting to get the feel of what that cathedral is going to look like now. So I'll get those glued together and then we'll get the texture on it. But before that, I'll get the inner support structure done, because this will need some ribs coming along here with the roof profile in, and then the frontage can stick to that. So whilst the texture is printing and the dogs are showing interest in Chandwell, let's have a look at what I've done. So the front wall that took so long to draw is now stuck together, and then I rapidly knocked up this. This is the support structure for the aisle. I've got the roof profile in place, and I've remembered this time, because I often forget, to reduce it by the height of 2 layers of card, so that when the roof goes on, it'll be the right height. I always forget that, and I'm really pleased that I've remembered this time. So I've used a layer of 1mm card and then ribs that I have put in between the upright parts, and that is to keep it as sturdy and as true and as level as possible. It's got a slight bow in it at the moment, but I think that will go once it goes on the model. So what that does is that will slot into here just nicely, and that will keep everything in the right place. And then this will then just slot on top of that, and it goes in absolutely perfectly. And that already is starting to look great. You know, you can really start to see the true shape of the cathedral now. And if we just drop on a temporary bit of card as a roof, you start to see, you know, what the real thing is going to look like. So I'm really pleased with that. Once that drawing was done, everything else is just slotting into place really quickly. There is a chance that I might get this aisle almost done today, so we'll see. Carrying on. When it comes to the texture, I'm using Scale Scenes Coursed Ashlar as the stonework for the older parts of the cathedral, and I've printed it out in the same size and dimensions as the frontage that I had before, but I've only printed the texture on the bit that it's going to be visible. You'll have seen that I've covered over the windows completely, and you'll see why in a minute. It's basically I put them over and then cut it and wrap it around to give a seamless edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out all together and then gently stick it onto the frontage that I've already done, and then we'll get the windows done. I haven't put any window lintels or any stonework surrounds. At this scale, it doesn't really make much of a difference if you remember to put the different types of stone around the edges. And I am going to have an elevated or an embossed part on the tops, just like I did with these ones over here. So if you can see, I've got a little bit of card just over the top there. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll come back once this has got texture on and I'm ready to wrap the windows. Whilst I cut these, I was just thinking, I've had 1 or 2 comments where people have suggested that I do a live stream this week. I've not really considered it, simply because I've never done it before and I wouldn't know how, although I'm pretty sure I could work it out quite quickly. But would anyone actually want to watch a live stream? How would it work? I think I'd have to be looking at the screen all the time to see your questions. And do you really want to watch 4 hours of me doing this? I don't think it would appeal. But if anyone does think a live stream would be fun, let me know in the comments and you might change my mind. Maybe on Friday, eh? So to apply the texture, I've just put glue along the top part of this. The reason being, I think it'll be easier to slide the whole thing and get it lined up along the crenelations, then I can put glue underneath and smooth it down later. So here we go. This is always a bit of an awkward one. Thankfully the glue does give you a few seconds while it still slides, so I can slide it until I'm happy with it, and I think in general that looks okay. Just because of the nature of cutting these tiny bits, you never get it absolutely perfect, but the grey watercolour pencil tends to cover up any errors. So that looks alright actually. Get rid of any bits of glue that's splattered out. You also see I've put some lines on the texture, and that's just to help me later on line up the string courses, which I'll print off separately. Now I did that on the north side, on the south side of the nave, and I can't quite remember how I did it, so I might have to consult my own video in the hope that I shared it at that point. Right, that's that done. So all I need to do now is just raise this up and get the rest done. When adding texture, I always like to use PVA like this. I know a lot of people like glue sticks and things like that, but I find glue sticks grab the texture really quickly and don't give much leeway to move it around. And I also find that sometimes glue sticks can give a bit of a lump, whereas this is just a nice way of sorting it out. However, I do have some kind of blockage in the nozzle, which means the glue isn't coming out very well. These nozzles are great, but once you get a blockage in them, it can take ages to shift it, because you don't want to push it back into the glue ball, because that causes more problems. Right, I think that's about right. So now I should just be able to smooth that down gently. Job's a good one. Okay, it's a little bit gone over the edges a little bit, so it'll need a little bit of a trim along the top there, but this is the side that's underneath the transept anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. Okay, I think that's probably all right. So the windows next then. All I do with the windows is I cut from the top down, from the bottom up, and then I kind of go in a little bit from the corner like that, and then just shove glue in it and hope for the best. Actually, the curves I also take across the top of the curve like this, and then make little tiny slices. That just helps fold the card around the curve. You only need 3 or 4, something like that. And then just soak the thing in glue. Get the glue right into the corners, because if you remember, the bevels go right up there. So I tend not to do it much scientifically or even carefully. I just splurge it in. And then I know there are some fans of the crochet hooks, so if you're a crochet hook fan, here it is. It's been a while since it's been on the channel. And then I just gently rub it into place, trying to get it right into that lovely bevel that we introduced. And then eventually pulling it tight, you get that lovely bevel. And the paper is quite robust. You can really push it in hard with the crochet hook especially around the tops that are curved. And it absolutely works beautifully. There's a little discussion in the comments by people who are far more knowledgeable than me about the characteristics of paper, and they were basically saying that, you know, paper behaves better when you're folding it if it's slightly damp, or if the atmosphere is even slightly humid. The amount of glue that I use on this, I think, really helps get it shaped into that lovely beveled effect. And as you can see, it has worked really nicely. It's a lovely, subtle effect. But sometimes if you go overboard with the rubbing, you can lose a little bit of the printed surface. So I don't know if you can see that down there. You can see the white paper sticking out. That's all right. All I do is I get a well-wetted, sharp watercolour pencil and just colour it in. So this is a warm grey, and I find that a warm grey kind of blends in with any kind of building or stone structure, and it doesn't take very long, and any kind of hint of the bare card showing vanishes. Isn't that good? There we go. With just 1 minute to spare before this modelling session, I've done the texture. Doesn't that look excellent? I'm really pleased with that. That's worked incredibly well. So that is ready to go on to this, the support. If you're wondering about this hole, by the way, there's nothing special about that. All of the components for this piece fit on one piece of A4 paper, apart from one of these support bits. So I just put the support bit inside the bigger bit. So that just came out of there. Putting bits inside bits when you don't actually need them to be solid is a great way of saving a bit of paper if you ever need to. So that is ready to go on there, and then we'll add it to the cathedral. So I'm going to glue the support in first. It fits in just nicely. It fits right up to the edge there, and it goes right into that bit there. At first I thought I'd mismeasured it because of that gap, but of course that's the bit where the actual frontage slots into. So I think once the frontage is in place, that'll go in perfectly. Look at that. Isn't that brilliant? I don't even need to nudge it forward. I was going to nudge it forward maybe on a sheet of paper or a little bit of card, but it doesn't need it. It's absolutely perfect. Gosh, things don't always work that nicely. Okay, take that out. Before I put the glue on, I just want to make sure that everything is generally all right. So using a couple of engineer's squares, it looks as though that is okay, and it looks as though that is okay. So the whole thing is square, thankfully. And then if we turn these this way around and this way around, we'll just check that everything is okay. And I think that is. So all I need to do is put some glue on the back of these ribs and stick them into place. I might straighten some of them up with some offcuts. I've still got some right angles which I took from the windows, so they can just like slot in just to hold everything into place. But that's looking good. Let's do it. All right, so that's that glued in. It went in without any trouble. I'm slightly concerned there's a slight bow in it, ever so slightly. I'm not sure whether it really is a slight bow or whether it's just my eyes. I should maybe have put some rectangles in that way to show it all up a bit, but oh heck, I think it's okay. Right, so it's this bit now. So all I'll do with this bit is I just basically put glue here, 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 and then all over here, and then it'll just slot in like that. Happy days. And that is the end of day 2. Not quite as far as I'd hoped, but certainly a heck of a lot better than it was this time yesterday. The addition of the north aisle, although not complete, has had the monumental effect of taking the weight of the model above 1 kilogram. We are now at 1,035 grams. That is by far the biggest and heaviest card model I've ever made. But gosh, doesn't it look good. Really pleased with the effect that has had, even though it hasn't got windows or a roof or any detail on it. What a difference. Absolutely chuffed.